Welcome to another edition of the Giants Huddle podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants. John Schmeelk with a familiar face. They're very well dressed, and maybe the nicest player that has set foot in this building. Prince Amukamara. Prince, how are you, man? It's good to see you.
Man, I'm doing great, man. It's definitely an emotional day, but I'm doing good now.
All right, we just had your press conference. Why, in your own words, was it important for you to come back here to make your retirement official?
Yeah, so, I haven't played, I think, in a game, in like 2 years just about, and so I was...
In the 2020, right? I think, yeah.
Right, and so I was basically not playing, but I think, like I said in my speech, I think it's because it started here, right? We won a Super Bowl. I feel like I'm treated like family every time I'm inside these buildings, and then even outside, like the New York Giants brand is global, and so everywhere that I go, I'm known as a Giant, and so it just made sense. And so when my agents called Pat Hanlon and the PR team, to be honest, I was kind of surprised that they said yes, just because I haven't been here since 2015, and I really haven't seen anybody do something like this. I think the last person was Eli, but it was right after.
Yeah, and Jesse Armstead came back and did it, I think, back 2010, maybe, something like that. So It's been a while.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, definitely grateful to the Maras and the Tisch family just for allowing me to do this. And to be honest, it was more for my family and just thanking them on a bigger stage for just giving me this opportunity, for allowing me to play a game that I love so much.
You know, once a Giant, always a Giant. It's not something that you just say, right? I mean, right. They do mean it here. Like, they're not messing around.
No, they are not. And when I shook John Mayer's hand after my speech, he reminded me of that. Hey, man, once a Giant, always a Giant. And again, I think that's true. It's not just lip service. They literally roll out the red carpet for you if you put on this uniform and the helmet.
And, you know, let's go back now. 2011 draft, right? You get drafted here. I think you probably dropped a little bit further down than you thought you would in that first round. The Giants were thrilled to have you when you were sitting there on the board. What was your first reaction that, all right, I'm going to New York now? That's a little different than Nebraska, right?
Right. Yeah, and so I was projected top 10, and so I thought I was going to go anywhere from San Fran or the San Fran at 7 or the Cowboys at 10. And what happened in the draft is there were just so many quarterbacks that weren't expected. I put air quotes on those, that wasn't expected to go, that went, the Jake Lockers, the Christian Ponders, the Blaine Gabberts. And so there were still guys like Nick Fairley left on the board and Tyron Smith. And so there was just guys that are up there. And so it kind of pushes me down because I was still the second corner. It was Pat P who was first, and then it was me. And so when I got a call from a 201 number, I never met with them at the combine, and so it was just it was foreign to me. And when I answered the call and the person said, "Hey, Prince, it's Coach Coughlin with the New York Giants," I was like, "What?" And then so and then it didn't dawn upon me that I was in, like, I wasn't gonna take a jet to sign the next day. Like, I was gonna take a ride through the Lincoln Tunnel over here to Jersey to sign. I forgot where I was for a second, but I'm definitely grateful to get the call.
Yeah, that's when the draft was in New York, both days at Radio City, and you were probably at Radio City, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I think I was actually at that draft covering that. I think me and either Mike Beckton or Mike Debbie probably shot you after that draft pick, which was fun. And then you kind of showed up to New York, and correct me if, a little wide-eyed, still trying to figure things out in life, right? So how did being here in New York with the Giants in this organization help you go from college kid to NFL man?
Yeah, man. And I wanted to say it in my speech, but there was it was just too much going on. But me being drafted here was the best thing for me. I wouldn't say that I needed structure. I was a very disciplined kid, but like the structure as an NFL pro, what I got here helped me last as long as I did. And it has nothing to do with play, because you could be the most talented and the best player, but because of your off the field actions or whatever, you won't last long in the league. And so having a guy like Coughlin, right, the 5 minutes early, the no hats, it's about the we and not the me. It's about team. Like, just knowing that, having my vets like Corey Webster, Antero Rowe, Aaron Ross, Deion Grant, Jacobs, Bradshaw, like having those guys teach me what it looks like to be a pro day in, day out, taking care of your locker, taking care of others, like watching the film, just the daily habits. Those stuck with me. And then when I went from here to Jacksonville, then here to Chicago, I mean, it was a cakewalk. It was just like, wow, like, especially as I got older, because then I didn't have those guys looking over my back as much.
You're ready for a change. Payday comes early with Citizens, so go to that retreat. New You moves to the country. Now you're raising goats and launching a lifestyle brand. Are you ready for all that life brings?
Yeah, and look, that was the special DB group, right? You know, DBs, with Trell and Deion Grant and Webster. Just talk a little bit about that group, and you called them and that team special a lot in 2011 at your press conference. What made them special to you?
Dude, they were, not only were they talented, but like the camaraderie that we had, like doing DB dinners every week and stuff like that, just getting to know each other off the field and watching film together at each other's houses. Like they really took me in and treated me as a brother and stuff like that. And so I think that went a long ways, and that was a big reason as to why we were successful.
You mentioned Tom Coughlin. Do you have the career that you have if he wasn't your first head coach?
Absolutely not. Like his expectation, like I always thought that my expectation for myself was high, knowing no one else's would be higher, but his always seemed like it was up there. Like there was never no excuses, right? You're either hurt or you're injured and stuff like that. And so, I mean, just the mental toughness, the mental aspect part, I feel like I got that a lot from Coach Coughlin. And he was a no nonsense type of guy. And then when he would show you his personality a little bit after the games, he'll do a little dance, like have a little smile and stuff like that. It was good for us to see, because okay, he's not a robot, he's human and stuff like that.
Peter Ginta, right? He was your DB's coach, right?
Yeah.
Corner coach. What was it like being coached by him?
Just awesome. I mean, him and Coach Merritt, just all about fundamentals and just teaching me the game of in the NFL, just analyzing different offenses and just simplifying the game. And I'm still close with Coach Merritt till this day. And I got to reunite with Coach Ginta over at the Saints.
Oh, that's right. He was in New Orleans with you. I forgot. That's right.
Yeah, and it was great to see him there too.
And, as a rookie, then you come in, you had the lockout that year, right? So you didn't get any of the work in the spring. You show up, I think, a couple days even into camp, right? Then very early in camp, you end up breaking your foot. How much did that – were you sitting there like, oh, I can't believe this? And how much, in retrospect, did that set you back, do you think? Or were you able to still kind of absorb everything in the meetings?
Yeah, I think it did. It set me back in a sense of I didn't adjust to the speed of the game. And I tell everyone the difference between college players and pro players, I mean, it's not like the pro players are like the Incredible Hulk or like Superman. There's not a big difference in that, but it's just that the guys in the pros are just so disciplined. They're going to seem faster because they know where you're going and stuff like that. Like the quarterbacks are throwing the balls to the right spot at the right time. So the quarterback doesn't have to be that talented in the sense of like a physical specimen, but
what's going on makes people faster,
exactly.
Right?
And so when going on the field, it just seemed like everything was just like it was a blur. And I talked about my first interception, and so that was my first game
Against the Eagles, Vince Young, right?
Yeah, Vince Young threw it to Deshaun, and so you see Aaron Antero comes off the field for whatever reason. Prince, get in. Should I get in? And then I'm lined up against Deshaun Jackson. I already know he's one of the fastest guys in the league right now, and he's Vince, and he's pointing at me, and I already knew what time it was. They're gonna go deep, so I bailed and ran the go route for him, and I got a pick, and great moment.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that game. So you didn't have the benefit of seeing NFL preseason, which is a speed level up, but it's still not regular season, right? So you just went right from college to Giants and Eagles.
Yeah, that's a big...
right? At home, fans going nuts. Vince Young, former Heisman Trophy winner, right? All that stuff. What was that like first game against Philadelphia, just having to dip your foot in the pool and really, oh, no, you're not dipping your foot. You're diving right in.
Exactly. And it was a night game at that. And yeah, I mean, and I knew nothing about the divisions and rivalries or anything like that. And yeah, that was
you learn fast.
Yeah, you do learn fast. And I mean, just with the lights and the fans, like all that played a big part. But as soon as you step on the field, it's crazy because all that is really blocked out. It just comes down to execution.
And then a couple other games that season I will talk to you about. You had the game against Dallas, right? JPP had the blocked field goal in a high-scoring game. And then you had the game against the Jets. And those are really the two games that set you guys on your way into the postseason, right?
100%, yeah. I mean, and like that, again, like I talked about in my speech, I mean, just that year, I mean, Cruz's resurgence to like stardom, right? Like after the first Eagles game, Cruz goes for like 3 touchdowns on their all-world defensive back team, and that's when that was the genesis of the salsa, and then he has a crazy game against the Jets, and then JPP's tip. I mean, everything went so right for us. That and I don't want to say so right because like it's not like we went 16-0 that year. Like there were games. It didn't go right the whole year, but it went the way it's supposed to. And yeah, a lot of people played a lot of major parts. That defensive line in my career. I mean, I played with Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks. Like that defensive line that we were just stacked. I mean, to have
Cam Jordan eventually even in New Orleans, right?
Yeah. But think about, we had Matthias, we had Tuck, Canty, OC, JPP. It was just like it was there were so many packages, and those guys. There was one time we played against the Packers. I remember watching it. Aaron Ross is guarding, I think, Jordan Nelson, and Aaron Ross gets a sluggo ran on him. So it's a slant into a go. Right before Rodgers could throw the ball, OC sack fumble. And it's just like those guys were our erasers. And so they're like that group was, like I said, it was special.
I like erasers. I think that's actually a really good name. I'm trying to think. There was one of the Linval Joseph was the other guy in that team.
Yes.
Big Linval. I mean, that is an unbelievable group of players right 100%. There.
100%.
All right, and now it seemed like the defense, which especially stopping the run, you guys struggled in the regular season that year, right? But you got to the playoffs, you're facing Matt Ryan. Yeah. You're facing Aaron Rodgers. You eventually faced Colin Kaepernick. And it seems like I'm sorry, that was Alex Smith that year. Right. Yeah. It was Alex Smith that year. I'm sorry. And
then Tom.
Yeah, and then Tom Brady, obviously. Trust me, we'll get there. But the defense really just turned it on.
Yeah.
And you guys just look like almost a different group than you were even just like 7 or 8 weeks prior.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think there was a stat, and you could look it up. I think we were ranked close to last as a defensive group in the regular season, but we just found a way. Like, I mean, Eli. Like, and it's so crazy because I remember guys were saying, "Hey, all we got to do is just get in because Eli's gonna take care of the rest."
And he did, by the way.
Yeah, no, he did. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? He said, "Man, they were seeing some similarities to the 07, the 07 team and stuff like that." And so when we got in, like I remember, if you could check the score, like versus the Falcons, I think we held them to. They just got a safety.
I think they scored 2 points. Yep,
yeah, only a safety again, and they were 14 and.
They were really good that year.
Either 12-4, 14-2 that year, and I mean they had Roddy White and Julio Jones, and for us to play well,
24-2 is the final on that
24-2.
game.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
and for us to play well at the right time. If you remember, the Packers went almost undefeated, lost to Romeo Crennel,
15-1. You got it.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Aaron Rodgers
team.
MVP that year.
Yeah, and then I mean, like a Hakeem catches the Hail Mary, right before halftime. I mean, we just played right at the right time, and so that was a great year.
You love turf. You're good at it. So you start a turf biz. Business grows, your savings grow. Become the most celebrated name in turf. Are you ready for all that life brings?
You know, and I'm not. This is not me calling it luck, but you brought it up a couple times too. It's just amazing. I think it happens for every Super Bowl team,
Oh,
right?
yes. Yeah.
And it's not just you guys. You look at every team. You can go back to when the Yankees won World Series. Things just have the tendency to go your way when you win these things. And part of it's under your control because preparation makes good things happen.
Yep.
But a lot of it is just that, look, we just made plays at the right time. And it's funny how it works.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, and then, if we want to go to the Super Bowl, I mean, just Ahmad, right, when he cradles it and doesn't want to fall in and then falls in, right? And then even on the Hail Mary, like, yes, we won, but it was so close. I mean, if Antro doesn't smack, I think it was Gronkowski catching that tip ball. I mean, it might be a different story, but yeah, like we just like who was it? Wes Welker who missed
on the drop on the crossing pattern. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this.
Dude, how about the muff putt against San Francisco?
Oh, yes.
I want to talk about that game here. I know two of
My
them.
guy Kyle Williams out of Arizona.
Absolutely. So bring me into that San Francisco game because, look, you guys moved the ball against Atlanta. You moved the ball against Green Bay. Really, you guys dominated Green Bay in that game. They were 15-1. They didn't, in the second half, you guys were rolling against them. That San Francisco game was a freaking grind.
Right.
Like I think the Giants punted 11 times in the game, but they punted around 11 times too, right? It was like 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. What was it like on defense just having to keep going back out there and getting another stop because both defense were playing at such a high level that the offenses just couldn't really do anything. And frankly, if those fumbled punts don't happen, you guys might still be playing.
Right. No, I know. I remember Tuck and the guys were saying like, hey, like this is gonna be a defense game, and it was raining a little bit.
Oh,
and
that field stunk too,
did.
so muddy. Oh my gosh,
it did. And they were saying like, hey, this is gonna be a defensive game. Like we have to stay stout, we have to stay strong. And next thing you know, we find ourselves with Lawrence Tynes, my guy Tiny's. He made that kick, man. He's so clutch, man. I was so happy for him.
And I'm sure, obviously, Tom Brady's Tom Brady, so you heard all about him and you know about him heading into that Super Bowl. What was the reality of actually playing against him?
Dude, so I was preparing to stop Matthew Slater on special teams. That was my assignment is to stop Slater. I was on all 4 special teams, and then I was still studying my defensive back materials just because you never know what's going to happen. So when you never know what's going to happen, come second half, Aaron Ross is cramping. I start the second half. As soon as I get on the field, I see Ocho Cinco, God rest his soul, Aaron Hernandez, Gronkowski, Tom Brady, and I lock eyes with Tom Brady, and I'm thinking, oh shoot, he's gonna go at me every single time. Because that's what QBs do. They see a rookie, they see a guy. Forget rookie, they see a guy who hasn't even been playing. Let's test him. Let's see where he's at. And he didn't throw one pass at me. They threw it out on me on cover 2. I got a tackle on Gronkowski, but that was about it. And I was very, very surprised. Maybe Perry Field, our defensive coordinator at the time, called some coverages to kind of help me, or maybe our free safety Dion or Kenny Phillips was leaning towards my side
over the top a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. But I don't know. But whatever reason, he didn't go my way. And yeah, I mean, Eli's 2-0 against him. So in the Super Bowl. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. All right. So what's next for Prince besides childcare, which I know is going to be a big part of it?
Yeah.
he has 4 kids, 2 twins that are under the age of 1. What's next for you? Do you know?
No, not yet. I mean, and I don't want to bore you guys up there with my speech about, real estate and stuff. I mean, it's not like I'm just sitting at home doing nothing. Like, I'm super involved.
Dude, you have 4 kids. No one thinks you're doing nothing at home. Trust me. No one thinks that.
Well, but is there a set career that I'm heading towards right now that's not on my radar? I, of course, want to be a part of the game somehow, and whether that's in front office or coaching of some sort, that's up to debate.
The wife has vetoed the coaching, though, right?
100% right now, yeah. I mean, because like,
dude, I know it.
Coughlin had people in here from 5 to 5 a.m. to yeah, exactly.
Sometimes later.
So I'm just being patient right now.
No, that's good, dude. Prince, it was great seeing you, man. Always
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. Congratulations. Always, once a Giant, always a Giant.
Always
man.
a Giant. Thank you so much.
Prince Amukamara, we thank you for joining us on the Giants Huddle podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. From game day to every day, Citizens is made ready for Giant fans with insights, guidance, and solutions. And don't forget, that's why the Giant fans love Citizens, because Giant fans love a winner. It's named the 2022 Best Bank in the U.S. by The Banker as the official bank of the Giants and sponsor of the Huddle. Citizens is made ready for fans of Big Blue. Learn more at citizensbank.com. We thank Prince Amukamara. We congratulate him on his retirement. Once a Giant, always a Giant. We'll see you next time on the Giants Huddle.